It will be a banner year for quarterbacks in 2026, but which ones deliver the most, we're going to discuss on the Portal Podcast.
Locked On presents The Portal, the daily podcast covering college football recruiting and everything NIL. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
To the Portal Podcast, where you get your daily recruiting, NIL, and transfer portal scoop. I'm your host, Bryce Smith, longtime college football recruiting analyst. Thank you for making the Portal Podcast your first listen each and every day, right here on the nation's #1 sports podcasting network, Locked On. We are brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, use your profit boost on an NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. We're going to be discussing who has the most pressure out of all the blue blood programs and everybody else, to be honest, around college football. Because with the playoff only being 12 teams, quarterback play is more important than ever. I'm going to go through a few of my most likely candidates for that later on in the show. Stats matter. We're going to talk about the need to make the big play in the clutch moment, interceptions, yards, and what to expect from some key guys in this, what I think is going to be a banner year for 2026. A lot of returning quarterbacks in the middle part of the show. But to start, we're just going to kind of go through some of the elite programs. Who are they? Who's coming back? I'm just going to go down the list by conference through the P4 and discuss my thoughts on them. Please join the chat, comment, let me know what you think. And if you're listening or watching this later on, YouTube, whatever, comment down below. So let's just get started. I'm just going to go through this alphabetically by conference. I'm going to start in the SEC, and it's ironic. To me, it's rare to say this, but we really don't know what's going to happen at Alabama. Austin Mack, Keelan Russell, one or the other will probably be the quarterback. Will we know at the end of spring? I really don't know. For those that are unaware, Keelan Russell was, by some people, the #1 recruit in the 2025 class. He's been on campus for years. Sophomores that are elite like that usually don't stick around if they're not the starter. However, Austin Mack's a young man that transferred into Alabama from Washington. Like, he came with that crew with Kalen DeBoer. He played a little bit last year in the game against Indiana when they were getting just hammered. He's got a big arm. He's a big guy. He's 230 plus. That's going to be a really interesting one. Enormous amount of pressure, but we don't know which one it's going to be, but that's really, really interesting. Auburn, Byron Brown. I think he will be a stud. He transfers in from USF. Alex Golish. This is a guy that knows offense. He's coached Brown. He's started since his freshman year at the end. He started a couple of games. He started 32 games in his career. He had over 3,000 yards passing, over 1,000 yards rushing last year. I think Auburn absolutely killed it with the portal addition they got. At Florida, Aaron Philo and Tramell Jones Jr. will battle it out. No clue what's going to happen there, but there are very few pressure cookers more than the quarterback job at the University of Florida. Georgia, it's Gunnar Stockton. I don't think it's as much on Gunnar in terms of the pressure, and I expect him to do well. He's a pretty good runner. He just has to avoid that one colossal mistake, which is pretty common in college football. But if he can just take a slight step up, Georgia could win the national title this next year. I want to throw in one that's just a personal favorite. This isn't a traditional blue blood, but Austin Simmons is now at Missouri. He was the backup at Ole Miss after starting the year there. He's going to be at Missouri. I expect him to be the starter. Look out for him. Oklahoma, John Mateer. If he is healthy, not just the hand, but his knee was banged up for the majority of last year, does he take a step up? Because I think it was more above the shoulder that was the concern than below the waist with his knee. He has to be able to do better with post-snap reads, and their schedule is still not very easy. There's going to be a lot of pressure on Mateer, especially when they play Texas, because he played poorly in that game last year. Trinidad Chambliss, I know Ole Miss isn't traditional blue blood, but they're going to be really good this year. That is one of the top 5 guys, in my opinion, in college football. He should be an elite player. Lenore Sellers has a lot to prove still to go to the NFL, and I know South Carolina's not a blue blood, but he's very talented. Is he really an NFL guy? I need to see more to believe it. I need to see more from Sellers this year. Joey Aguilar at Tennessee, if he comes back. If not, that's going to be a hodgepodge situation at Tennessee. I would imagine Faison Brandon ends up being the quarterback, the true freshman at some point. But if it's Aguilar. He did lead the SEC in passing last year in the regular season. Look out. Arch Manning, I'm going to talk about him a little later, but the number one thing here, he has to play good against Ohio State. Again, I'm going to talk about Arch later. I'll save that. But if Arch doesn't play well against Ohio State, the questions will be out there. Now, A&M, Marcel Reed. Is he that guy? He looked pretty pedestrian against Texas and against Miami. He also had his struggles against South Carolina. If you want to play man defense against Marcel, good luck. They got too many good receivers. If you can mix up your zone coverage, this is kind of like the same deal as John Mateer. I think you can get in his head. We'll see. Just want to throw this one out there as well. Jared Curtis, the 5 stars at Vanderbilt. Does he start? How does that go? Good luck there. Illinois has Caden Hauser coming over, a really good quarterback from ECU, just somebody to watch. Indiana got TCU quarterback Josh Hoover. He was originally committed to Indiana, if I remember correctly, back out of high school. Really good player. He has a chance to help Indiana finish in the top 5 again, if not win another national title. Iowa, Jeremy Hikulinski and Hank Brown are going to battle it out. Who knows? Maryland, one of the best kept secrets in college football, Malik Washington. He'll be a sophomore. That's a really talented player. He might be the guy that kind of goes under the radar, but has a year where he throws for over 2,500 yards, maybe even 3,000. And he might be somebody a lot of teams try to steal out of the portal next year. Michigan, Bryce Underwood, new coaching staff, new OC, new opportunity. He's still mobile, but will they let him throw it more? Is he going to have more weapons? I think yes on both of those, but that's staff. I need to see what they're going to do. My expectations of him is he's going to be better, but it's really hard to project just how much, because we really don't know what they're going to do in terms of how often they're going to throw it. They've still always been a lineman-driven program. Let's see what Michigan does with Underwood. Anthony Colandrea at Nebraska. He threw for 3,500 plus at UNLV last year. Maybe he's the guy, maybe he's not, but I think he's going to do really well. This is his 3rd school in 3 years, though. He needs to figure it out and make it happen, and Nebraska need to take that step forward. Let's see what happens. I think that will be a very good situation for them. Julian Sayin at Ohio State, top 5 quarterback. No doubt in my mind. Dante Moore, Oregon. He didn't play great in some of the big games, but he's still one of the best in the sport. He only has to take a small step up, and Oregon can win the national title. Really good. Penn State's Rocco Becht, Mr. Consistency. He's a graduate student. He's going to be playing for a program that brought over the same staff that he worked with at Iowa State. He should be good. I think he's another guy that's kind of flying under the radar, to be really honest with you. Nico Iamaleava, I think UCLA will be better. 2nd year for him in that system. He's going to be pretty good. USC's Jayden Maiava. This is a guy I think is a Heisman candidate. He's not getting enough respect. I know they lost Makai Lemon, etc., but they still have several really good football players at USC. The line should be better. They will be able to run the ball even better. Look for Maiava to be the guy. If he could just make those clutch plays and especially play better on the road, he could win the Heisman this year. No doubt about it. It's not like Lincoln Riley doesn't know anything about quarterbacks. Damon Williams. This one is maybe the one I'm most curious about of anybody. After almost leaving, trying to leave, and coming back, how does the locker room accept him? I'm a little lukewarm on how that's going to go. Colton Joseph at Wisconsin, elite athlete. He ran for 179 yards last year against Indiana. Is he ready to make the passes? They went out and got some pretty good receivers. The offensive line should be improved. Running game, we'll see, but I think they're going to be pretty good there. Is this the guy that finally makes Wisconsin a viable offense? Because they were so hard to watch the last couple of years. JKS. Say it with me. Jaron Kayave Sangabatola Telegs. I can't say it when I'm under pressure. JKS is awesome. That's all you really need to know. The kid was a freshman at Cal last year. He threw for over 3,400 yards as a true freshman. Sangapolo Tele, there we go. 18 TDs, though. Here's my question. Do they protect him enough where he can get in the red zone and throw the ball? He should be at 25 TDs this year. He throws as beautiful a pass as anybody in football. He's still got technically 3 years left. I'm sure he'll turn pro after his junior year. Love Jaron Kiave Sangapolo-Tele. Great player. Is Chris Vizina the guy at Clemson? I've heard they're going to have an open competition. Let's see. And speaking of competitions, Florida State, is it Ashton Daniels? Is it Malachi Marshall? or is it Kevin Sperry? Florida State, they're in flux because the OC departed after they brought in their quarterbacks. I assume that it will work out. Mike Norvell is going to be the play caller again. That's one of the things that he is actually good at, but we'll see. Lincoln Kienholz. Louisville gets him from Ohio State to back up. I trust, based on their recent history, that it'll work pretty well. Is that going to work great? I don't know. But are you really going to go against the recent history at Louisville? They've taken guys you're like, I don't know about this, and it's worked out well. This guy's got a lot of talent. He just didn't beat out Julian Sayin. Okay, I get it. I'm gonna go with Braum more often than not, and this is going to be one of those cases. My pick for the Heisman, Darian Mensah at Miami, transfers in from Duke. He had almost 4,000 yards passing last year. This is straightforward. That is a straight-up killer. He will be an elite player. The battle at North Carolina, Billy Edwards, Teron Dickens, and whoever else is in that mix. I think Billy Edwards will win it, but who knows? I don't have any faith in North Carolina until otherwise proven. That program is just snake-bitten. Their rival, North Carolina State. CJ Bailey, another guy that's kind of under the radar. I think he can really get it done. Look out for them. If they throw it around the way I think they are, he's going to put up some big numbers. Notre Dame's CJ Carr, he will definitely be in the Heisman race as well. He had 24 TDs, 6 picks last year, 9.2 yards per attempt. That was second in the nation. He's an elite player, and I expect his TDs to go up. They don't have Love and Price, but they've got some really good receivers, and the running back room is still good. They're going to throw it around more. Carr should surpass 3,000 yards through the air. Mason Heinchel, don't forget about him. He is the quarterback at Pittsburgh. He was a freshman last year. Came in and won the job, man. That is not easy to do, and good for him. It's a great story because, to be honest, not that many people even knew who he was. He only had a few offers. Great story. SMU, Kevin Jennings, he will be a third-year starter. I think SMU is the second best team in the ACC, and Jennings is a major reason why. Syracuse with Steve Angeli, just want to throw this out there. Look, it sucks that he tore his Achilles last year. He got hurt during the game against Clemson, and they won, but he was murdering Clemson's defense. If he's healthy, they can at least be competitive, but their NIL is probably going to leave a few concerns, especially in the trenches and on defense, but he's still going to throw it around. Virginia, probably Bo Perbula. We'll see. He was banged up at the end of this last year for Missouri, transferred out to UVA. Athletic, he's got a pretty good arm, but he's not proven, and he really didn't throw it to the middle of the field that much for Missouri last year. Need to see it from Bo Perbula. Ethan Grunkemeyer for Virginia Tech, up and down, but he did start games for Penn State. He is now at Virginia Tech. Of course, James Franklin recruited him to Penn State originally. I'm not sure how he's going to be, but it's a year-one deal. If they can get anything out of him, let's see what happens. Noah Fafita, another guy that gets nowhere near the attention that he deserves. Arizona was pretty good last year. They're a dark horse in the Big 12. Give it credit to that staff. They've done a good job, and he can spin it. Not the biggest guy in the world. He's about 5'9", but he's got an arm, and can he run? Cutter Boley transfers into ASU from Kentucky. That's a player that he enrolled in college early. Athletic, big arms, got size. He started at UK. But I don't know what to expect now because that offense he was in at Kentucky, they didn't have the playmakers, and it's in the SEC. Should be easier in the Big 12. Can he make an immediate impact? We'll see. And speaking of, DJ Lagway goes to play at his dad's alma mater, Baylor, after playing at Florida. A lot of pressure on him. But that offense, it's good. Can he make the reads? He just looked lost last year at Florida. I don't know what to expect out of Lagway. That's a hard one. Bear Bachmeier, pretty good quarterback as a freshman, to say the least. Matter of fact, he was really good. Year two, how much of a leap can he make? They still got some good receivers, but I don't know if they've got the elite talent to take that massive step. Do note, BYU does not play Texas Tech during the regular season this year. Houston, Connor Wegman comes back, but watch out for Keyshawn Henderson, the true freshman. He is electric. Oklahoma State, Drew Mestemaker comes in from North Texas. He was one of the most electric players in college football last year at North Texas, led the country in yardage, passing just over 4,000. Texas Tech gets Brendan Sorsby. He comes over from Cincinnati. He was a runner and a passer. Big guy, 235 pounds. He's going to give Tech more viable options once they get to the playoff, and they're almost shoo-in. Again, they don't play BYU. Their schedule outside of conference is a joke, and they are very good. They had 7 transfers on the D-line that are really talented. Utah, Devin Dampier should be there, and West Virginia. I think Michael Hawkins, the transfer from Oklahoma, will be the guy. If not, watch out for Jerron Yulee, the freshman from South Florida. That is my list and just my basic takes. I'm going to go into a few more things with stats and thoughts, but I also want to jump into the chat. That is next, right here on the Portal Podcast. Today's show is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. If you've ever wanted to experience the NBA Finals live and in person, FanDuel is giving you the chance to turn that dream into reality with the NBA sweepstakes. Here's how it works. Use your profit boost on any NBA future, and you'll automatically be entered for a shot to win the NBA Finals trip for 2. That's right, flights, tickets, the whole experience. If you're going to love anything, check this out. The futures this time of year, whether it's picking a team to win the championship or grab a conference title, there's different ways you can do your future. It is totally up to you. FanDuel gives you that option. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Use your profit boost on any NBA future and get entered for your chance for the trip for the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. We are also brought to you by our friends at Indeed. The workplace chaos, deadline stacking up and inbox overflowing, and the one position you have to fill is still sitting open. When the pressure's on and you need the right hire, there is a job for sponsored jobs. Indeed, sponsored jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for, skills, experience, location, so you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post. And here's the stat that says it all. In the minute that I've been speaking with you, on average, 27 hires by Indeed worldwide. Again, check all the boxes with Indeed sponsored jobs. Spend less time searching, more time actually interviewing candidates. That's how it works. Less stress, less time, more results. All that chaos is put to the side. This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs, and you'll get $75 in sponsored job credit. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast. Again, Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about us on this podcast. Need to make that hire? This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. Thank you once again for making this your first listen each and every day, the Locked On Portal Podcast. Truly appreciate it. And if you want to take your podcasting to the next level, especially those of you that listen on audio later on, this is the best way to do it. The Everydayer Club, $5 a month or $50 for the year. No ads on your audio. Podbean, Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple, whichever one you go with. No ads. That's up to you. And there is a link down below in the description that will describe more, including the Discord. Check it out, the Locked On Everydayer Club. Now let's talk a little bit about stats. There are a few different ways you can look at stats with college football, and it's up to you. Everybody has their own thought process on this, and here's mine. I know that big numbers matter, like Drew Mestemaker led college football with over 4,000 yards. Now, most of that was G6, but he could spin it, and he had options to go to a lot of programs, Indiana, etc. But the stat that matters most is still W over L, meaning wins over losses. That means you've got to be clutch. So whatever game you're looking at this next season, or if you want to look back, look at the following stats. You can look up stuff on PFF, CFB Stats. By the way, CFB Stats is tremendous. Great site. Whatever one you go with, look at the stats that matter or dive into some old box scores and go through the plays. How did a quarterback do in the fourth quarter? What were they on third downs? And of course, anything in the red zone. There's less space and more pressure. Those are the circumstances that matter. And it's not just the passes, it's the runs. Let me give you an example. Byron Brown transfers from USF to Auburn. Obviously, the competition is going to go up because Auburn, in my opinion, has a top 10 schedule this next year, if not top 5. But he's a runner. He's a passer. He has started 32 games in his career. That's a really talented quarterback, and you can't just depend on him throwing it because he ran for about 1,100 yards last year as well. How do you get it done? It's not a matter of throwing it. It's making plays, getting first down, and putting points on the scoreboard. There are a lot of ways to look at that. Here are a couple of guys that I think are going to go way up in certain categories. JKS. Teron is not just a passer for Cal. He is a thing of beauty with the way the ball comes out of his hand. Now that Tosh Rupoy is the head coach, they went and paid the young man. They're starting to get some players around him. Look for those touchdowns to go up. Again, he was 18-9 last year. There wasn't a very good team. But it wasn't like Gerard wasn't throwing to make plays. Offensive line had its moments. Defense didn't get off the field enough. They'll be better this year. Some of the guys from Oregon came down, and some of the guys from around college football that could have went other places went to Cal. Again, Tosh and his staff did a good job. Let's see if he can't get over 25 touchdown passes this year. Speaking of on the cusp of 25, CJ Carr, he was at 24-6. I think he will be close, if not over 30. They don't have Jeremiah Love or Jadarian Price, arguably the two best running backs in college football last year. Certainly elite and the best combo in college football, the way it played out. They're going to throw it a little more. They've got some really good players coming in like Quincy Porter, and they have young guys that are stepping up, and they still got Faison. They've got Greathouse. They've always got tight ends. They just got to get healthy. And their run game, believe it or not, will still be good, and they've got a ton of talent on the offensive line. Look for Notre Dame to throw the ball more efficiently and more often in the red zone. I think he'll throw for 3,000 and throw for 30 touchdowns. Darian Mensah, he's got Barkate coming over from Duke with him. He's got Malachi coming back. He's got an insane amount of talent that's coming up the ranks on the offensive line. I know they lost a lot, but they'll still be pretty good. And overall, there's really nothing not to like about the offense for Miami, and they probably have the deepest running back room in the country. Why wouldn't he be, Darian Mensah, like that guy that just doesn't have the most clutch? He may not have as many yards. I doubt he does, because he'll be standing on the sideline next to the coaching staff, Mario included, in the fourth quarter of a lot of games. But look for Mensah to be clutch, because he's already been that, because he had to carry Duke on his back. That defense was just okay. He'll certainly play on a team with a better defense this year at University of Miami. And again, he is my pick for the 2026 Heisman Trophy. That's just my opinion. Going into the Big 12 and looking at a few of the other teams, like let's get Sam Leavitt in there. If he's healthy, he'll have a massive year. I need to see him just play 12 games. Comes over from Arizona State, from the Big 12 to LSU. And to that end, DJ Lagway, is he healthy at Baylor? I don't know. I think Drew Mestemaker will lead the league in passing yards at Oklahoma State, but they're probably going to score a lot year one for Eric Morris and that staff at Oak State. That'll be intriguing, but he'll probably throw for 3,500. They're going to try to spin it and outscore some teams, and it's going to be fun to watch Oak State. That'll be must-watch TV. But the team to really watch that I'm curious about is the one that's sneaky. That would be Houston. Connor Wegman is back, but remember the name Keyshawn Henderson. Here's the stat. When Keyshawn comes in, are they going to use him for packages? There's no way he's standing on the sideline for 12 games. Elite athlete. Could have played free safety, wide receiver, corner. Doesn't even matter. But at the same time, he could throw it. He could really throw it. I don't know what you do, because Wegman is pretty good last year. You need him to be your leader, your graduate student quarterback. That will be intriguing. The other team, of course, is Texas Tech. Brendan Sorsby. I don't think his stats will necessarily be huge, and their schedule is awful. I just think he needs to be consistent. As long as he doesn't have those stats that are just god-awful in any close game where he just throws a pick six with 4 minutes to go or something like that, he'll be in pretty good shape. They paid him a ton of money to come back to his home state of Texas. Let's see what Sorsby does, because he's got enough physical traits to actually win a shootout if you need him to, and they went and got players all around him. Let's see if Tech takes that next step as an offense. They'll be able to run the ball, but they've got to be able to pass that against better teams, and they got to prove it during the regular season. And finally, Arizona State, Cutter Boley. Like, is he going to be that guy? That those stats, they went and got 3 really good receivers. I think they're probably going to throw it around. That one's the wild card. Is he ready for that? I don't know, but Cutter Boley's got a ton of talent. Let me jump here into the chat real quick and see what we got. I'll get it started, then we'll do a quick break after. Salty, what examples of elite high school quarterbacks being overwhelmed by the pressure of being the starting quarterback at these blue blood programs stand out the most to you? One you're familiar with, Ron Paulus at Notre Dame. That didn't work out very well about 30 years ago. There have been a ton of them, though. Chris Sims, he's a guy, I don't think he lived up to it. Made it to the NFL, but he didn't live up to the hype. But there are a lot of them, though. Ronald Curry was as good a high school quarterback as I ever saw. He tore up his Achilles at North Carolina. Shouldn't have played basketball. Those are a few. DJ Uyunglele, this didn't work out the way it should. He was a top 5 player. There are a number. Sometimes pressure is hard to deal with. That's a good question. Katie, Darian Minson, $10 million worth of pressure. I don't know if he got paid $10 million, but if he got anywhere near that, that's insane. I don't know where you heard that, but that's crazy. Salty, how much do you agree with the saying the 2 most prominent positions in American athletics, quarterback for Notre Dame, shortstop for the Yankees? I wouldn't say that necessarily. I think they're up there. I think the star player for the Lakers could be there, or the quarterback probably for the Cowboys, I would put over Notre Dame. Those two, because pro sports are still a little different. But yeah, there's Notre Dame is up there with that. But Yankees, Cowboys, Lakers, you can say Celtics. Those are some of them as well. But those are pretty good ones. I'm pretty sure that Katie would not buckle under the pressure. Well said. On that note, I'm going to get his final break in. Then we're going to talk about the most pressure just to deliver wins. I have one that's a little bit different, and I mentioned him a little bit ago, and I'm worried about his health. Who am I talking about? We're going to discuss that here in just a moment on the Portal Podcast.
I'm Clea Butler, host of Locked On Women's Basketball, and this is Mazda's Women's Basketball Snapshot, celebrating the work no highlight reel can ever capture. It was a heavyweight showdown between number 3 South Carolina and number 7 LSU, and the Gamecocks rose to the occasion. South Carolina secured a hard-fought 79-72 victory to stay atop the SEC standings, using a balanced offensive attack to outlast the Tigers. Tessa Johnson led the way with 21 points, while Raven Johnson added 19. Medina Okot dominated the paint with a double-double, finishing with 12 points and 17 rebounds, while Joyce Edwards chipped in 10 points to round out the scoring. With the statement win, the Gamecocks now turn their attention to a road matchup at number 23 Alabama on Thursday. These moments are earned off the clock, those long before the lights ever come on. The sweat, the fakes, the doubt, the scrapes, and coming back for more every time. Mazda puts that same drive into every detail. Wins define the moment, putting in the work, that defines you. There's more to a Mazda because there's more to you.
Who has the most pressure in 2026? I'm going to say Sam Leavitt. LSU fans are ready for a winner. They went and got Kiffin. They got 40 transfers, Sam Leavitt included, but he's not going to my knowledge, be participating in spring in any form or fashion that would be considered normal. Yeah, he'll go through the install and the meetings and all that stuff. But he has a Liz Frank injury. If there is a player with more pressure because his time is definitely diminished, it's Sam Leavitt. That's not easy, but LSU went and got 9 receivers. They've got really talented players coming back. The offensive line will be far more experienced. And it's just the fact that it's LSU. They're going to still play those big games. They got a road game at Ole Miss, by the way. That will be a banger. They play Alabama, etc. It will be a really fun schedule. And Sam needs to stay healthy for all of them. He's my number 1 pressure pack guy, but there are some others as well. Joey Aguilar, assuming he gets his petition taken care of and he's able to play. Tennessee, their fans expect another step forward. They think the defense will be better. The offense was pretty good last year, but maybe he even has to score more. Who knows? That's somebody to watch. And I also think going just a little bit further north, I talked about it briefly. I'm not sure how much he's going to throw, but Bryce Underwood is super talented. Michigan has a better coaching staff and what I think will be a good long-term plan. They would like to see Bryce kind of expedite the process, though. Do they have enough players around Marsh and Bryce and a few of the running backs, etc.? The O-line should be pretty good. I don't know, but he has to find a way to figure it out. And it's the post-snap reads, making some of those difficult plays in the middle of the field. So that's who I think has the most pressure. Anybody has any thoughts on that, fire away. Now, Here is, let's see. We got a whole bunch of comments to get to. Let's see. Here we go. Katie, 30 miles per hour wind made Marcel Reed look pedestrian versus Miami. How would his long game have looked in a dome against Miami? I don't know. Miami plays a lot of really basic cloud coverages with a lot of length in the secondary, and they get after you with 4. They could drop 7 because of their ends. It's hard to hit big plays against the Canes. They just never gave up a ton of yards or a lot of points against anybody. I mean, Indiana probably did the best job against them, and Indiana struggled at times. So that's a great question. But I think overall, you're talking about a quarterback scenario where there just aren't many guys that have enough time. So it's not a matter of the talent. You could have Joe Montana in his prime back there, but if he's getting hit, it doesn't matter. Miami's D-line, I thought it would be a really good battle. They were definitively better than A&M's top 10 offensive line. So the wind didn't help, and he looked flustered all day. I was disappointed more with Reed not taking off and going and getting 4 and 6 yards. He didn't do it enough, in my opinion, but Reed's a good player. I still think he needs to take a step forward mentally. Katie, I want to see Aaron Philo under John Sumrall and Buster Faulkner. For those that don't know, Philo was at Georgia Tech. He was a backup for the Yellow Jackets behind Haynes King. He was an elite passer in high school. I think he's still Georgia's all-time leading passer as a prep player. But that was at like a 1A private school, Prince Avenue. I don't think he's a guy that you should expect a ton out of, but Faulkner's really good as a quarterback coach. That's an interesting one. Katie, Jeff Brom is a quarterback whisperer. No argument. That's why I think Keene Holtz has a chance to be really good this year for Louisville. We'll see, though. Katie, CJ Bailey is my sweeper, especially with JoJo Trader and Chance Robinson, his homeboys. Yeah, Chance and JoJo grew up with CJ down in South Florida. They played on the same Little League team. They played with the same 7-on-7 team. Like, there's no reason to think that you're not going to see those guys take that next step. Now the question is, can they protect him, and how's the defense? NC State's defense left much to be desired this past year, and I'm being very kind. Salty, which creates more pressure for a quarterback? Starting at one of those blue bloods, or as a high school recruit, or transferring to a program for a grotesque amount of money? I'm going to go with the latter, because once the money's out there, that's the end-all, be-all. If like Sorsby got $5 million or whatever it is, that's a lot to really handle. Now, let's see. Salty, Paulus, ouch, but Curry is my top choice. Yeah, Curry was unbelievable in high school. He really was. Katie, Vincent got $10 million. Sister got soccer full ride plus NIL. Mom and dad get country club accommodations paid by the U if they move. Got all that from a friend in the university's athletic department. Also, my mom is in the collective. Wow, that's crazy. If he got $10 million, that's insane. It really is. I mean, good for him, but like at the same time, that's a lot of pressure. That is a lot of pressure. We'll see how it goes. But thank you once again for checking out the Portal Podcast. This has been a live show at noon. We'll do another one tomorrow. Appreciate it. We're going to be breaking down a lot of quarterbacks. I just started. I want to start spitting them out this weekend. Just quarterback capsules, stats, expectations, the team schedule, some of the things that are going on with each P4 program. That'll start this weekend. Be looking out for those. Please like and subscribe. This has been the Portal Podcast.